Mr. Strawn and Miss Dean and Mr. Stirrup, very nice to be here. The experience was awe-inspiring. You know, it is one of the things that for us in the Bahamas we were so pleased. It displayed what small countries can do. It displayed what teamwork, the value of a team as opposed to individuals. You know, we didn't get any individual medal, although we had some great individual performances. But ultimately, that team, you know, we sent a group over there called Team Bahamas, and ultimately it's that team that was victorious, and everyone there shared in it. It displayed, for me personally, demonstrated the power of organization. You got to meet the British organizers, led by Lord Sebastian Coe, who were that's a fine-tuned watch that they were operating there. It shows the importance of the state being involved in major events and all the resources of the state being available, not necessarily used, but available. The security company that was supposed to conduct the Olympic security could not supply all of the needs, and so the U.S., the British Armed Forces stepped in and just took over that whole operation and did a great job. It demonstrated that sports, you know, although that is supposedly an amateur athletic event, it demonstrated that the business of sports is now a multi-billion-dollar industry, and its potential as you move around this franchise. The Olympics is almost like a franchise now moves to Brazil. As you move this franchise around from region to region, country to country, that it has the potential to transform certain states of being. The place where they had the Olympic Village built was an old East End part of London called Stratford. Stratford was like Baintown. It was, you know, had great history to it, but run down, dilapidated, old part of the city that had no attention to it. That part of the city has been completely forever transformed. That is now one of the better parts of the city.
Right.
The place where they had the Olympic Village where the athletes stayed were several thousand apartment buildings that were built. Those apartments will now be auctioned off. They're already paid for. They'll be auctioned off to college graduates, new families, people like that, to really get a foothold with housing and give them an economic relief. That, you know, you'll basically get this place for, they probably sell them for £20,000 or something like that, nothing fantastic, just to pay the cost of moving fees almost. And so you saw what this sport can transform people's lives on many different levels, not just the race what you see on TV and the guy with the gold medal. It has the ability to transform old run-down towns. It has the ability to uplift the spirits of a nation. It has the ability to attract major investment. It has the ability to attract people from all around the world. And maybe sport is one of the few things that can do that. I can't think of anything else that can do what I saw a few weeks ago.
Right. And when you look at the performance of our athletes, so many who did the semifinals and finals in their events, I mean, this augurs very well for the future, especially at the Olympic level.
Absolutely, absolutely. You must remember just several months before we went to the Olympics, you had the World Junior Championships in Barcelona, and the Bahamas team put in some commanding performances. Anthony Strawn, not to pull her out of the bunch, but you have Shawnee Mill, a couple other people, high jumpers, long jumpers, you know, really put in dominating performances. And not since the young Jamaican lady, I think probably about 20 years ago, did any female win the 100 and the 200 in the World Juniors. And she has had a fantastic career, and so we have a lot to look forward to.
Minister, you know, there is a question in our family here at Guardian, and certainly it's prevailing thought within the country. Having had this detailed experience, hands-on experience in terms of the importance of sports, given the London Olympics, how much you think that will impact your colleagues when you go back to cabinet and really explain to them how important it is to focus on sports? What would be the impact with your colleagues?
Well, two impacts at that level. One, they are politicians, and so they understand the populist appeal of success. You know, that is always attractive. But the second and biggest one is its economic advantage in creating new jobs. This could be a new industry for the Bahamas, and so we know as a country we have to invest in creation of new parts of, you know, of industry and job creation to get this country rolling again. We're not going to borrow ourselves out of a recession. We are going to grow ourselves out of a recession. And every new industry we bring on represents growth because it's something we didn't have before. So for my colleagues, they agreed to make a major investment for Carifta coming up, bigger investment for the IAAF World Relay Championships coming up. And that story flows so well for me. I mean, you know, God touched me a little bit this year, well, a lot. And you know, the idea of me being in London, going to negotiate with the IAAF president for the little Bahamas to win a bid to host the World Relay Games, and we win the feature event in the World Relay in the championships at the Olympics. So I mean, that Friday was a big day for us, right? So we won the bid, won the race, but now we have to get into the structure of how we benefit from the business.
The reality of it.
The reality is you got to invest, we got to build a level of expertise, and we do have to partner. So, you know, you have the IAAF run. This is a traveling roadshow. They know how to put it on. It's not a big deal for them. We have to partner, we have to invest, and we have to create young people like yourselves who would like to be in this business. It's a big business.
Mr. Johnson, my question is, I know that when we talk about sports, there's a lot of focus on track and field. And you mentioned the individual athletes, and Arianda Vanderpool Wallace was one of those athletes who really made a huge, right.
She made history.
It was a momentous occasion for her to be in the Olympics in swimming. What about other sports that you see the Bahamas having potential in? Where does your ministry think we have potential to produce other athletes in other sports?
Well, you know, track and field is at the Olympic level still the featured, that's the feature event.
Right.
You know, we must remember they changed the Olympic schedule this year, which is the first time in many, many years to feature Usain Bolt in the 4x1. They changed the schedule early in the week so he could have a little more rest between the 1 and the 2. I mean, this is, you know, this is a made-for-television event, and he happened to be the feature.
And he is a made-for-television guy.
Exactly, and so it came around that, and so you have to take those things into consideration, and you govern yourself accordingly. It's one thing, you know, this way you need people produce these events. This isn't, you know, 5 fellas get together and run from here to there. It's a production. And this is where, you know, you have professionals that do this. You have people who are into the sports management business. You know, people